Trump was fully aware of how imminent the threat of Iran was, he felt like it would be probably much easier to resolve a conflict with Russia and Ukraine. But these things, these aren't like wars. These are very vast legal and economic systems that in one part of the world could be expressed through war, but in other places it's not like so easy. And I mean, I think history will look back on what he did in Iran, and we have realized turn up the heat very soon there. But I think history is going to look back on him and what he did very favorably in the same way that even though maybe there was more casualties than what we expected in Iraq, but I think we all agree that the Middle East is a much safer place without Saddam and his regime in power, and we definitely wouldn't be able to do. I wouldn't want Saddam Hussein in power or someone succeeding him, in dealing with all the other Assads and the Nasrallahs and the Sinwars and Assad. I think history's going to look back favorably on Trump, and I don't really think he has such a choice.
Hello, thank you for that excellent analysis, Black Rabbi. That was really top notch. Geopolitical strategies is genius.
Kitover, what's going on, buddy?
Good morning. Hello, LS. Cool PTR. Are you black? Like Black Rabbi? Anyways, back to the title of the room. Is Donald John Trump keeping his promises to his voters, to the American people? Is he upholding the Constitution and the Declaration? Is he a happily married man? They're claiming Melania hasn't been seen for months and he's having a great time with this hot blonde at the White House. Did you see him smiling, having a good time on the plane with her? Well, at least he's happy. Because if our president isn't even happy, well, then we're really fucked. So that's the good news. He's still calling out CNN reporters, calling them fake news. You're fake news. And he had that young lifeguard there with the kid he rescued. He seems pretty happy, you know? But people here on Clubhouse, as you know, are chronic complainers that have no happiness themselves. And they love to waste their time flapping their lips nonstop. A lot of Trump derangement syndrome. I think personally it's indicative of a personal self-esteem issue. A lot of projection onto that orange man just all the time. Some people have stopped or slowed down their projections because they know that time is limited. And if all they do is spend all their time talking about the orange man bad, well, there's no time left to even enjoy their own lives.
Hello, how are you guys?
Hello. Hello, Jordan.
Hello, Mr. America. Waste more time than Goodman,
You mean John Kitover? Chicago mayoral candidate? There's nobody named Kitman here that I know of.
You're wasting your life, that's all.
I'm wasting my life. Is that a projection onto me from you? Are you wasting your life, LS?
Doesn't come on a close in his campaign promise. What do you think in Mr. President Donald Trump?
You tell us, Jordan. Is he a good man? Is he a good leader? Is he funny?
Yeah, funny is good leader, but I think the American election time is coming soon. Sometimes
Well, what time is it right now?
And he's at 33% right now in the Reuters
That's
poll.
correct. He's 33%. Everyone, take that moment.
He took the next election. He won again? Well, he's not running. It's the midterms. But yeah, I mean that's pretty low. I mean this is lower than Biden. It's the same board. Next time, I think in Donald Trump don't sit at the election. He doesn't sit. Some of when the president in the election, some of people in the choosing
I'm so sorry. It's good.
Yes, sir.
Where from?
I'm from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love. Birthplace in the country.
It's nice.
It is nice.
I was born in Istanbul. I'm from Turkey. My nationality Turkey.
Excellent. Where do you live now?
Istanbul.
Excellent.
Excellent. But I'm moving to the United States. Immediately, I'm fucking excited.
Where are you gonna move?
I want to visit in the New York City, Miami, and Los Angeles, California, Palo Alto, some of part. I described in the United States. I'm gonna see anyway because I have been visiting the 6 country. I like for South America, Brazil, Mexico, Colombia, Venezuela. I like it. It's fucking amazing, but I don't have visa. I'm gonna try in more time in the United States, but I didn't take appointments. It's full. Everybody waiting in the appointment.
Yes, they're backlogged in the United States right now.
Why? Why that? It's amazing. Amazing is country is fucking amazing. It's a powerful country, by the way.
Yeah, America's great.
America always great, boss. Always great. Most of the one that's popular and the famous country, by the way. I like it there. And every young people and every people's dream is America. Now I'm talking with an other and the uncle. He have been visiting the United States. But sen nereye ziyaret ettin Amerika? He have been visiting the Houston, Dallas, Texas, actually, Texas City, and New York. Yes, boss. Yes.
Yeah, so I wrote a foreign policy piece, and it was widely talked about in Turkey. I guess they didn't like what I had to say, but I put the link in
Which link?
the chat. I put the link in the chat. It's from a Turkish paper. I guess
What's this?
Oh wow, this is in Turkish. This is in Arabic, I guess. Wait.
Parsa'da. Söylesen Ahmet'in Somali'ye reçetesi diyor. What's this boss? This is Zionist.
I guess they're calling it that in the paper. They're responding to a policy piece I wrote here in a think tank that was published.
I didn't touch in the politics. I didn't focus politics because I didn't understand the politics. I don't care for anything else.
Okay.
Yes, I'm gonna move in the United States. I described in the United States. I'm gonna learn a new culture and I'm gonna see it in the United States because it's freaking amazing. I'm exploring the United States. I'm traveling, visiting for anything else. I'm gonna see the Empire States and the University, and for example, on the Ocean Drive, Miami, Los Angeles, Palo Alto, and the Beverly Hills. It's famous streets. I'm gonna see in my face, in my eyes, by the way, one by one.
Yes, I put another piece that just came out yesterday, but it's it's in the Horn of Africa discussing. I wrote an open letter to the president of Somaliland here in Israel, and so the publication Somaliland and Horn of Africa are running the story of my open letter. Yeah, we're trying to create peace. America, Israel, United States, Somaliland.
You're like a world commentator here, Black Messiah. You're putting out messianic vibes all over the world.
Well, it's Messianic. I think it's pragmatic foreign policy.
I love it.
Trump's pretty much just like a centrist moderate. He's not that extreme at all. Like, he's very centrist.
What positions, Samuel, do you think Trump has that are second? What would you say those are?
That he's like a centrist. I mean, like, he is a centrist. He's a populist, right? Like, that's what he is. I mean, I would not call him like a deeply conservative person. Like, Trump is like pretty much for, like, he's open to abortion, right? His foreign policy has been like very middle ground, like the same as like Obama or Bush or anything beforehand. He broke from like the old GOP orthodoxy. I think that he believes in like more like market intervention sometimes, and like I think think that he's very much a centrist. Like he's not a super right wing.
Yeah, I don't know that I describe him as super right wing. I don't know that I describe him as centrist either. I mean, that's interesting though, because you're right. The interventionist stuff is not.
I'd say he's considered right wing now because the left has moved so far to the left in the past 20 years. Like if you look at like what a typical Democrat was saying, back in 2000, it's very similar to what Trump is saying now. It's just that like the Democrat Party has moved towards like the DSA, towards being much more progressive, and so like those things, they always show like old clips of like Obama or like Clinton or something saying stuff that Trump says now, and they're saying the exact same things when it comes to like the border and immigration and all this stuff. Like nothing has changed in the past 30 years. He's saying the same thing. It's just that the Democrat Party has moved majorly to the left, and like Trump's been actually really good. Like if you look at like what he's done, like in the nuts and bolts, like particularly around like the stuff he can control, which is like the regulatory agencies. Like Biden was like heavily weaponizing the regulatory agencies during his term. I wouldn't even call it Biden, but like Biden wasn't even running the government. It was like his underlings were weaponizing the agencies to do some like really nasty stuff, and essentially like carry out policy goals without any sort of laws coming from Congress or through the courts. It was pretty terrible. So, like thankfully that's all been cleaned up. Like you don't hear anything now about the agencies taking this very like dominant, aggressive viewpoint against people or American business or other stories that we were hearing back in the Biden era.
So here we have just a couple things here to consider. We have the economy is slowing, right? Where our growth rate.
Say that economy's speeding up. We're spending like the amount of money that's being spent inside the United States is exploding. Like we're in one of the highest growth periods of the United States in the past 50 years.
So growth rates in 2023 was 2.9%. In 2024 was 2.8%. 2025 2.1%. 2026 so far 1.8%. So there's still growth, but it's definitely slowing, right? I mean, it's slower than it was in the previous administration.
No, definitely not. Like they're going to spend $7 trillion on data centers in the next 5 years. Like that level of capital expenditure just was not taking place beforehand. Like I don't think you understand how big the AI build out is going to be. Like if you
it may be. If the AI build out explodes, then it will be higher, right? But right now, we'd say like 1.8 is lower than 2.8, right?
I'm saying that like the amount of money that's is being spent is really like we would be in a very low growth environment had it not been for the AI boom right now, and that's how it had been since like 2008.
So what you're saying is that 1.8 is higher than 2.8. So the 2026 growth at 1.8 is higher than the 2024 one.
You're talking about like GDP growth?
Yeah.
I haven't looked at it. I just mainly focus on like the amount of like that sector spending, and it's absolutely exploded. Like GDP covers everything, right? But if you're looking at like
wait. So let me get this straight. So Samuel is saying that when he measures the success of the economy, he is only looking at one sector. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, I think so. I don't want to. Maybe I'm misunderstanding, but that's what it sounded like.
I mean, wasn't like I think that like obviously like some of the sectors have been like flatlined for a long time just because there's not a ton of growth options. Like that was kind of the argument that a lot of the climate people were making, that we had kind of peaked in terms of like electricity usage, in terms of like commodity usage. So like pushing for efficiency gains made sense, but now we've kind of shifted into this like new environment where we're starting to expand capacity again, and it's been extremely significant.
We'll add they remove $25 billion a month from Social Security payouts. They say there were over 11 million fraudulent recipients of Social Security. That was released yesterday. So it's not just about efficiency. I think we need to replatform Medicare, Medicaid. We need to replatform Social Security. We need real structural platform change because the fraud, the waste is that much. It's really all coming from Medicare, Medicaid. I am complete.
So there was 11 million Social Security recipients. How many arrests have been made?
Like financial crimes are like notoriously difficult to actually prosecute. I don't know if you've actually like tried to like sue somebody. Typically they like settle without going to trial. Like something like 95% of cases don't actually ever make it to trial. It's a very, very, very low amount, and prosecutors typically only take to trial like what they know is almost like 100% going to be getting a conviction
In their favor, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, well, duh. But I'm saying,
like, do you know the conviction rates?
If you're gonna make it, hold on. If you're gonna make a claim that you have 11 million Social Security recipients and you've had no arrests, nothing like that, that's kind of fucking weird. I mean, it just sounds like you're just pulling a number out of your ass. Like, where proof is in the pudding. Of course, it's hard to prove financial crimes. There's notoriously tough, just like political corruption.
Well, I mean, criminal arrest wouldn't speak to the entire thing. What if they do a civil settlement and just let everything go instead?
Well, it's not.
You still have some people going to a courtroom. You're doing
Danelle.
Where's the settlement, sir?
Danelle, I know people here are very lazy and no one's going to get a link for you, but you could Google it if you want. Hello?
Like most of the time, these federal prosecutors don't want to go to trial. They just want to settle beforehand and move on because that increases the amount of caseload that they can take on. Like it's very rare to go to trial.
That's
that's
100% true.
What are you talking
Samuel.
about? You're acting like you're like.
I also just want to add that it's not just Donald Trump that is delivering for the American people. It's really also Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And not many people know this, but this app was instrumental in getting Kennedy as an opponent and running, and eventually him dropping out, dissolving, and joining the Trump administration and endorsing Trump and telling all voters not to vote for me, vote for Trump, even if I'm on the ballot, because the Democrats want to split the vote for Trump. Clubhouse and that young man Augustus Palante, and especially his wife, were instrumental in creating Kennedy content and Kennedy publishing, which ultimately ended up with him joining the Trump administration. And they just reduced the vaccine schedule from an insane 70 plus to 12 or somewhere around that number, and slowing the delivery, not 5 at a time, but Big Pharma now delivers 5 at a time. So
I want 5, I want 7 at a time. I get every vaccine I can get. What vaccine?
the point is,
Daryl, welcome to the stage.
No. What do you think about the economy? Do you think that 33% of the voters poll? What do you make of all this, Daryl? Daryl, going once. Daryl.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't find the button. So it depends on which promises, right? He promised that he was going to lower grocery prices on day one, right? So he promised he was going to end the war in Ukraine within 2 weeks? So it depends on which promises. He promised he'd be transparent, right? And he is. He's actively day trading or like insider trading. He's actively has anyone seen his wife lately? Where's his wife?
No, she's in hiding.
Yeah, where's his wife? It's funny that when conservatives are like,
what does his wife have to do with anything?
I wasn't finished speaking, so if that's okay with you,
I want to understand what you're getting at by mentioning.
Okay, if you let me finish speaking.
All right, bro. Okay, but I'm not explaining why I interrupted.
And you're still talking.
Go ahead, Daryl.
It's like poor impulse control some people have, right? So it's kind of like when conservatives are in charge, they always talk about the value of the wives and the value of the, the woman and the value of the this and traditional family. And yet, where's his wife? Has she been seen in I think they said it's been like 13 weeks. They're counting where's Melania, all right? Their websites, where's Melania? Where's Melania?
Excuse me, Daryl, where is your wife?
I'm not married.
Well, it's because you're a faggot.
Oh, who said that?
That was Kitover.
But Daryl, are you done yet? Can I comment or you?
How do we put him to the audience?
I want to kiss on your ovaries. Grace, I want to kiss on your ovaries.
You know that,
I mean, bringing up Trump's wife is wild. She has nothing to do with
This is a
it.
news story, though, right? I mean, she's
Nobody elected her.
exactly. Like,
If Obama's wife was gone, this would be all over the thing. Obama wore a tan suit, and people said he was a fascist.
I don't remember that being that big a deal.
Oh, it was a huge
It was a
deal.
huge deal.
People are playing the victim with Obama's tan suit. It was not that big a deal.
I didn't think it was a big deal. I don't care at all what he wears, but it was a huge deal.
It was a huge deal. They went on and on and on about this for 3 weeks about the tan suit. This is what I call selective memory.
Absolutely.
I like the tan.
I mean, isn't everybody that works in media some like closet homosexual, and so they love to talk about people's fashion choices?
Yeah, I don't understand. It's not like Republican conservative Americans weren't talking about tan suit. It was the media. So you guys are just repeating media propaganda, you schmucks.
No, it was conservative media. It wasn't ABC News. It was conservative Tokosphere. I mean, I don't know why, but it just was a thing.
Yeah, but we just like all of the conservative like media people are like closeted homosexuals, and so they love talking about this stuff because it's like catty.
Dude, the tan suit is back in the news from liberal media, not conservative media. What are you talking about?
It's like, so at the last 2 RNC conventions, Grindr, which is like, I don't know if you don't know what Grindr is, but Grindr is a hookup app for gay men. And Grindr crashed the last 2 times the RNC gets together. They say Grindr always crashes during the RNC.
Like there's a difference between being like gay and like gay TM, like trademark gay. Like one is being gay and just like doing stuff in the bedroom, and like nobody really cares about that. Like sure, that happens all the time, but like when you make an identity your lifestyle, that's when it becomes obnoxious, right? When you have like your identity is what you determine the world around you as, like that's when you become obnoxious and people don't like you anymore. Like who cares? Like this is the same type of like puritanical stuff that's been happening.
It doesn't really matter if it's one party or the other. Like just let people go home and do whatever stuff in the bedroom they want, and then like,
Well,
who cares?
I know a gay man here in Chicago who is Democrat liberal, but he's also racist. He's also a nasty person who calls me a bitch sometimes in the back of the bar where we hang out. And I'm like shocked because he's a liberal Democrat, but yet he's so rude, obnoxious, nasty. He's funny, and he's my wingman. He tries to pick up the young boys. I try to pick up the young girls. But, politically, he hates Trump. But yet he's accepting of other people liking Trump. He doesn't care. And he believes that corruption in the Democrat Party is rampant. So how do you liberal progressives address the corruption in your own party? Hello?
Kitover. The quality of the discourse is unbelievable. It's amazing. Amazing. So this is a New York Times piece. Randy, do you think Trump's keeping his promises? This is Stephen Ratner, who's a pretty regarded economist. Well, prominent. I won't say regarded. He's a prominent guy. Whether you regard him or not is pretty, I'm sure, subjective. But He's got 11 promises on fundamental things like wages, tariffs, the economy, all this stuff. I don't know, Randy. Trump's at 33% in Reuters, which is usually a favorable poll for Republicans and conservatives. What do you make of all this, Randy?
Well, I wasn't expecting that question, and the one biggest issue, bigger than anything else, is the Iran war. He promised no new wars, and of course, there isn't a war in Iran. But I personally am okay with the war in Iran, and I hope that we resume it after the midterm elections, and I hope that we defeat Iran. So I am okay with Trump. I feel like every other president kept kicking it down the road, kicking the Iran problem down the road. Meantime, Iran got more and more dangerous. I feel like Trump has taken on Iran, and we have to finish the job. And to not finish the job in Iran, to me, is inconceivable, because they are going to get strong again very quickly. And they are, if we can get rid of the IRGC, we can make the planet safer for the next 100 years. So, via Trump, good luck, Trump. God bless Trump, and let's finish his job.
Yeah, but Randy,
Like nobody in Iran that can take over. I mean, that's the big
Randy,
The Iranian army could take over.
No, they wouldn't.
they're already taking over. They're 60% of the country's army. And Russia and China are not going to stop supplying Iran with explosives and weapon systems, etc. This war is another quagmire that will not end. And I agree with you, Randy. It's necessary. This is like having a zit that you need to lance on your face. You have to do it. You have to start squeezing the pus out of it for it to heal. Hello?
It's just kind of like, in Venezuela, there was a strong opposition that existed before they went in and.
Yeah, but that's not who took over.
Right, but still, there was some sort of power structure which was friendly to the United States that was able to make a backroom deal before they went in and took out the president, or even afterwards. They were able to come in and maintain a lot of the power structure without having to either bring in the opposition or completely gut everything. With the IRGC, there's no political figures who, one, are friendly to the United States, and two, have enough internal power to come in and dethrone the current regime. And so Iran is a much different country than Venezuela. It's much larger. They have a much different topography. It's very hard to attack Tehran or even maintain any sort of boots on the ground there. So I don't know what happens, because there's not really a case where we send in troops to Iran. We can continue to drone them and bomb them, but that's about it.
Well, like I said, the scenario is that the Iranian army takes over. They have a coup. They take over, and they are less democratic than the IRGC, and there's a history of that happening in the region, and that they are preferred to the IRGC.
Randy, do you really differentiate between military personnel in a country at war? You don't. It's political
I
ideology.
differentiate between the IRGC and the Iranian army, yeah.
Do you think those institutions have different ideology, or the leaders of those institutions are any different? They're unified in a war, Randy.
All right. If we can agree, we can disagree. Yeah. Sounds like you disagree. It's okay.
What's that? I missed that.
I'm good for now.
No, it's what really
Thank you,
disagree things. By the way, Randy, I'm with you on the Iran thing. I think it's been a threat in the thorn in the side. But the challenge is the straight thing, I think it seems like every security expert from both parties knew when they war gamed this out that this was going to be the move, right? That they would close the strait and sort of try to hold everybody hostage. Which is one of the reasons I think nobody did it. I mean, now if Trump can finish the job, that would be, I think, exceedingly impressive, and he would get a lot of credit. The question is, how do you finish the job? What does that look like?
I think you got to put a lot of boots on the ground.
There is no finishing the job.
Even if you take this rate, what's going to happen when you take this rate? You're going to be getting attacked from the land. So what do you have to do? You have to put troops in on the land. Oh, those troops on the land are now being attacked. Now you have to move further and further in. And Iran is more mountainous than Afghanistan and more urban than Iraq. It's going to be a quagmire. You have to put troops on the ground if you're going to do it.
You don't have to put troops on the ground. There's lots of ways to win wars. Assassinations win wars. You are making an all or nothing statement, and I would suggest you look at the cognitive distortions disorder list, because that's number 10. Congratulations, Danelle. You have a cognitive distortion disorder, making all or nothing statements. Okay, Danelle, go back to Burger King and keep flipping your burgers, Danelle.
You can't even recognize your ideologically count. It is pure autism of like this.
See, that's projection. I'd like to activate the projection detection system and hold up a mirror to your face, Danelle. Thank you for projecting on me, but thank you very little. Woohoo! I refer to books. You see, I don't just refer to my opinion. And, in some famous Chinese book, it says that war, is that your psychotic burger flipper laugh? What I'm trying to say is war is a funeral process that both sides administer. And regime change in a country which is fully ideologically warped it's not going to necessarily work. You throw the king in there, now you got Islamic jihadists waging war. So this has to be done Michael Corleone style, which is the way that it was done. Trump and Netanyahu launched a sneak attack, killed one of the worst leaders on the planet, which was a major blow and a major victory. The problem is people on this app, I don't even know what the word apathetic means, but what I'm saying is it's like they're living their own depression and morose real time by being political and judicial analysts here on Clownhouse. Hello?
Why isn't the war over? I mean, how many heads of state are we going to drone strike, and then finally the moderate takes over? And who is the moderate?
I mean, it works in some instances. It worked in Venezuela.
It worked in Venezuela. I mean, the Venezuelan thing is like, that is the best case scenario when you get the vice president in the pocket of the CIA. Like, that's the best case scenario you can get. Keep the existing structure. But I don't understand Alistair's thought.
I think that we're going to look back upon when Trump is done with his term and say, like, Venezuela was great. We might even get Cuba, hopefully, and maybe even the North Koreans like decide to end the war with South Korea and normalize relations again. Like, if those three things happen, I think Trump's, like, in terms of foreign policy, even with the Iran stuff going on, would be regarded as a very successful president. Because, like, what did like Biden was a bit of a lacking in terms of foreign policy. Like, the Ukraine war started. There was all sorts of strange things happening down in South America. It wasn't great, right? They kind of like let the ball drop globally.
Well, look at North Korea. Trump canceled his military war plans with South Korea in order not to stoke tensions with the North. But the North is sending tens of thousands of soldiers to the Russian battlefront to engage in war with Ukraine. They just launched a massive drone blitz in Russia again, and they burned down like a massive retail facility. Did you see the size of that catastrophic fire? So, I mean, I was in the U.S. Army, and we spent the entire time studying Russian weapon systems. So there's like a polarized world of Russia, the weapons industrial complex manufacturer, and America, the weapons industrial complex manufacturer. We're still butting heads, but we're not doing it We're not doing it publicly. You can mute me all you want. My day has already started. I am complete. Hello?
I do like a hello. Where did you come up with that? I'm a fan of the hello.
When he ends a statement?
Hello? It's a clubhouse thing. It's definitely an African American thing. I think it's like a homing beacon location thing. It's like sending out a ping, you want to get a ping back, so you go, hello?
Nobody says it as well as you do when you say it that way.
Hello?
Scott, I knew you had read this as soon as I saw it this morning. It's a great article.
I like Stephen Ratner too.
You got the Trump quote, you got the date it was made, you got the venue in which you can find the quote, and then you just have the numbers.
Yeah, I think Ratner is a pretty credible economist. I think he's an interesting guy.
I don't think you're going to.
What is that? What is that noise? Is that you, Samuel, or no?
No, it's not me. Somebody could be on.
John, is this John?
It's John.
It's John. John, can you mute up? Thanks.
Yeah.
John's a noise troll, y'all.
I thought you guys were talking about me. I'm a troll, but I'm not necessarily a noise troll. I am a highly annoying person.
That's self-awareness. I give you credit for that. Yeah, Adam, I thought it was a good piece. I thought it's just, I mean, the metrics are pretty objective, which I like about it, right? It's
the economy is clearly worse. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We're going to come in at under 2% in this year, for sure.
Now, what do you attribute that to, Adam? Why?
Stupid wars, tariffs.
The tariffs are huge, yeah.
Cutting immigration, lack of the gutting of government spending on university research.
I think you're on target, Adam. I think you are.
Leads to lower growth.
That's right, and that's going to be the biggest problem.
I don't buy that when you say we're going to look back and say that foreign policy is a success. I don't think the average American cares who's in charge of Venezuela. So I don't think that they're going to look back and think that this was worth doing, because even though no one died, the American side in this op, it's still only polled at 30% approval.
Adam, people aren't going to look back nostalgically with regards to regime change, but they will look back nostalgically to the time, to the abundance, because we are at peak spending. We are 40 trillion in debt, 200 trillion in unfunded debt. We have bought a lot that we are not entitled to. And the bagman, the bill collector, the tax collector is coming. And the generations that are coming out of college now are graduating with over probably close to $1 million in unseen debt liabilities that they do not know is on their back.
Absolutely. That's
huge. I read something that Trump might be responsible at the end of his 8 years for 1/3 of all federal spending, all federal debt at the end of his one administration. So I don't think conservatives can ever talk about the debt and the deficit after this is all said and done, because none of them are talking about it while the spending is.
Well, Scott, I'll answer this briefly. Samuel, why don't you speak first, since you started before?
I don't really see the debt as like that bad of an issue. Like, one, they can always inflate it away if they wanted to, which is probably going to happen anyways with like all the AI stuff coming. Like with if you have tens of millions of robots that take all the kind of hard labor jobs, and then you have massive productivity gains that come through the implementation of all this new AI stuff. That in itself, well, I mean that's the assumption, right?
That should not be the assumption.
I mean, that's how you get out of a low growth environment. We were in a period of like near negative interest rates for.
Well, Samuel, there's no one else in the room that agrees with you more than I do. I'm the only techno optimist futurist in the room, and I agree with you. But I don't think it's productive to try to persuade the people that are not so optimistic about the power of AI and robotics. What I would say, Pam, and I'm curious of whether you agree, is my biggest complaint with MAGA, the number one reason why I am angry with MAGA is the issue of high-skilled immigration. I recall specifically many speeches about how the U.S. needed the smartest people in the world to move here. I spend a lot of my time in Silicon Valley. The majority of Silicon Valley companies wouldn't exist if we didn't have super smart immigrants. So bottom line, Samuel, is I think right from the very beginning of Clubhouse, I've offended both the left wing and the right wing by asking for hundreds and hundreds of millions of super skilled immigrants to come here, but zero unskilled immigrants. And I'm angry that MAGA appears to have turned against the idea of mass immigration of super smart people. So I want to hear only from Samuel, not from anyone else. Do you feel as strongly as I do that the U.S. needs an enormous number of super highly smart people?
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. Yeah.
See, Elmo.
If you're an exceptional person, you should be able to come in and build and run a business or do anything like that. I think the question really, most of those questions around like an H-1B visa was like, should you allow these essentially like mills to bring in these kind of mid-skill workers, and instead of paying an American like $120,000 a year, you're able to bring in like an H-1B that you're paying like 70. Like, should that continue?
Regardless of skill level, they're not interested in.
Is that your opinion?
I mean, it's very clear that they've cut H-1Bs like to the bone. They're not trying to refocus on people.
Are you sure about that, Adam? Do you got Google's internal numbers? Do you have Microsoft's internal numbers? Do you have any internal numbers? You don't, Adam. You don't.
I'm in pharma, so yes, I've seen it.
But you're not in big tech, you're in big pharma. Okay.
Yeah, but pharma is also a huge employer of H-1Bs, the second biggest after big tech, right? It's also clear that so in terms of like budgeting, right, and the debt, you should not budget assuming that you're going to have these fantastical growth rates. If they happen, great. But that should not be the assumption. That was the assumption when they passed the big, beautiful bill, that we would have 4% GDP growth per year, which was absurd, right? You should not expect that to happen. You should hope it happens, but you should budget to much more realistic numbers. That's the only thing that makes sense. It doesn't make sense to assume that this thing that's never happened before is going to happen.
Adam, the budget is based on a percentage of the overall economy, and the stock market at an all-time high. They keep publishing articles saying that we are in an AI bubble. Eventually, this massive bubble will implode, and guess who's going to get left with the losses? The pensioners across the whole country. The entire nation will financially suffer when the AI bubble collapses. And as a political leader, if I was in charge, I would advise the pension funds, in my opinion, to liquidate now at all-time highs, because the future, in my opinion, is not optimistic. I am very pessimistic about the financial future of this country, because for 26 years, we've indebted ourselves, and delusional DSA people who think you can just inflate your way out of it and pay debt with debt are the dumbest fucking faggot retards on the planet.
I think it's very clear that you can't just inflate your way out of debt, because Americans hate inflation. You will lose if you try to do that.
I mean, if like you can inflate as long as there's different types of inflation, right? So like the money supply can grow so long as it's like equally distributed, and like the national debt at where it is. So there's like so there's $36 million or $37 trillion of debt, national debt. Like there's people who hold it on the other side. So as long as those people are happy to hold it, like it's fine. You should just continue to issue more, especially as like
it is not fun because the interest rates are stuck at almost 7% right now. We have it's 6.7%. It is not at 4. What? Regular people's interest rates, like mortgage rates, it's almost at 7%.
No, I'm talking about like a 30-year bond.
Well, yeah, but we're talking about how that passes through to regular people. That's why you can't do it, because as the 30-year bond rate goes up, the rate is even higher for regular people because it's kind of pegged to that. It's pegged to 10-year, not to 30.
Well, I mean, right. interest rates going up is not really like a bad thing. It just means there's a lot of demand for money at the moment.
The interest rates going up is clearly a bad thing because the people say it's a bad thing.
No, I mean, it's not a bad thing. It just means there's a lot of demand for money.
If you look at what is going on in the economy and you look at how people feel about the economy, it says it's a bad.
I mean, but like what you feel and like what it actually means is two different things.
What you feel is what matters in terms of voters.
Sometimes, but like thankfully elections are every 4 years, so like the growth in the economy it's very like K-shaped at the moment,
and it's not good. It's under 2%. It's 1.5% for 2026. It's bad.
I'd say there's a lot of sectors that are like ripe for some type of deflation.
The growth rate is bad. Do you disagree?
Depends on what sector.
I mean, the sector doesn't overall. The GDP growth rate.
Adam, it's all relative, dude. If you're on one side of the fence, it's relative, Adam. So, I mean,
most Americans think 1.5% GDP growth per year is bad.
No shit, dude. What, Adam? Let me ask you something. Have you ever done Toastmasters? It could help you a lot in your professional career, because if this is the way you sound at a meeting, you sound like a faggot bitch.
So the 30-year isn't the benchmark for mortgages. It's the 10-year.
Correct.
And so it's because most people will either refinance or sell their home within 10 years because first-time home buyers who don't have kids often within, I think it's somewhere between 5 and 7 years, will move to a bigger home. This idea that the idea, Sam, that this is not an issue, I think is somewhat misguided. If you look at what happened last week, we bought a bunch of yen because what we're trying to do is prop up the yen in relation to the dollar. And it's because Japan is the single largest holder of American debt or American treasuries. And, I don't know if you know what the Plaza Accords were when we actually kind of ruined Japan's economy. But there are a lot of countries that we're doing cash swaps with now because, they're running out of money in a sense.
You can't run out of money. That's impossible.
Well, yeah, I'm being facetious, right? I don't literally mean you're running out of money. What I mean is you're going to, over the next, I think 16 to 18 months, you're going to start to see the Treasury prop up other currencies. The reason Japan had such a low interest rate for I think 27 years now, at least 27 years, is because they wanted to, well, one, they were forced to at that G5 meeting at the Plaza. And two, their economy is, it has just been stagnant for about 12 years now. And, so this is the second within a year, this is the second cash swap or swap line that we put up. The first one we put up, I believe, was with the UAE when the whole war started, because no one had US dollars. And the threat becomes, I don't know if you know what the Thucydides trap is, but the threat becomes that if countries that hold US debt are suddenly in need of cash, they will sell that debt on the market. They'll sell it at a lower price, but that would actually increase the interest rates on the debt that they're selling in the market, which will absolutely impact, everyday Americans. So I understand when you say that people don't care about their feelings. I think the average voter, who is just some man or woman going to work every day and putting their kids through school, they absolutely do care about how they feel about the economy. And if you look at some of these,
they don't care about that. Like, what they care about is home prices, primarily.
Okay, so when you say they don't care about that, what is that they don't care about?
I mean, like, they can probably give they probably don't care that, like, the Japanese carry trade is unwinding, right? Like, what they care about is the price of housing, like, number one. And we've done most of the housing, actually pretty much all the housing issues, and this is something that Democrats should probably deal with before they get to the midterms. It's like, why are all the cities, blue cities, have the worst housing issues? Like, why can't they build enough houses? Why can't they build enough apartments in New York or LA?
Well, the first thing I would want to say, when you say they don't care about what's happening in Japan, I would rephrase that to say they don't know about what's happening in other countries that hold our debt and how that might impact them. Because they will care about the impact when the impact hits their dining room or their living room. So again, they may not know about what's happening in Japan and how that will ultimately trickle down and impact them. But I think they will care about it, even if they don't know about it.
I would say that, like, the majority of the kind of middle to lower class's biggest expenses goes towards housing, number one. And so, like, until you fix the housing markets, like, affordability does not come back. Like, it's just a foregone conclusion, and nothing that you're talking about is actually going to make a material impact on anything. Like, until you're building millions and millions and millions of houses to drive down the cost of housing at scale, like, nothing is going to be fixed. And it's a systemic and structural issue that has to be fixed. And until that happens, like, everything else about affordability is just kind of a joke, because it's like at the margins and it doesn't really matter. Like, America needs to figure out how they can build houses again. Until that happens, like, affordability is going to suck.
Well, Trump has kicked out a lot of the people who build the houses.
Trump's very little. Trump has, like, housing is like a local issue. It's a city issue and a state issue. And Trump has, like, very little.
The workforce is a federal issue, since he's kicked out the people who, like, do most of the construction.
No,
They're like they raid construction sites.
Like, it doesn't, like, okay, so, like, what you're saying is that we needed illegal immigration to keep labor costs low, so that there could be higher margins in building houses.
I'm saying that the illegal immigrants were the ones who were actually doing the work, and they didn't have a plan to swap them out for somebody else to do the work.
Okay, so the home building companies or construction crews are not paying a high enough wage to American workers that they need to depend on illegal immigrants.
Hey, they didn't. The Trump administration is the one who decided to do this, and they didn't.
No, but that's the argument. I think that's a silly argument. Like,
well, so if I could just get back in here, Samuel, because Samuel, do you know what the personal consumption expenditure index is? Okay, what does that have to do with housing?
PCI? I don't know.
PCE, it's actually the PCE index, because you actually said that people don't care about how much they're spending on just plain old consumer goods, right? Like foods and, food, housing, buying clothing, which, because PCE index is actually a major indicator of the status of our economy. And so if you, again, I'm not even trying to argue with you. It's just, you seem to, you're like one track minded on this. And you're saying that The only thing, or use, and I hate when people use phrases like the majority, because what does that mean? 50.01%? When you say like the majority of people care about housing, right? So what is the majority? What is that majority? Or is that just like, you know, way of exaggerated, you know, like absolutism? Well, I don't know where you live. Run away. Run.
It's weird to say that, yeah, the conservatives don't want to talk about this one. It's interesting to not mention that Trump has run off a lot of the construction workers. And then to make them, they're not paying enough. Yeah, but like Trump ran them all off, the workers that we do have. So that's going to contribute to the lack of building. If you didn't factor that into your anti-illegal immigrant process, then you end up in the situation that you're in now. And Trump is president. So it's interesting. The Trump supporters don't seem to think Trump is, they think that they're just sitting around, that they're spectators, that they're not in control of the full control of the country. They don't want to take responsibility for anything that's happening.
As he trades daily.
As he trades daily.
See, this is my theory. That Trump has made a huge wager in the predicting markets that the Democrats will get a massive victory in the midterms. And he doesn't want to leave anything to chance. So, this isn't his control. Right? There's a lot you can do.
Listen, let's eliminate the first year of Joe Biden's administration, where the GDP grew at 6.2% because that's pandemic rebound, right? 2022, 2.5%. 2023, 2.9%. 2024, 2.8%. Now we're into Trump's years. 2025, 2.1%, and the first half of this year, 1.8%. The economy is clearly slowing down, and it is as clear as day in the numbers of this.
Wait, Radner had 1.6%.
Oh, sorry.
1.6.
Yeah. So it's as clear as day the economy is slowing down, and no amount of bullshit is going to make that unclear. It is clear the deficit is growing rapidly under Donald Trump. They don't have anything to say about that. It's clear the national debt is growing rapidly under Donald Trump. Manufacturing jobs have stalled out under Donald Trump, right? There's been no growth. There's been loss of manufacturing jobs under Donald Trump, right?
Hey, just wanted to say really quickly, in addition to what you're saying, Adam, another thing is that I think I read somewhere that the only portion of the economy that's growing is related to the AI sector and healthcare sector. So everything else is in recession. I'm not sure. I think I read that somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure what the counter argument would be of like, are there any metrics that would indicate that the economy is in?
No.
Uporn's not doing good.
$4 gas.
Well, that's why I think the the talking point from the real sycophantic one has transitioned to it's your patriotic duty to pay for higher gas prices so we can defeat the wrong. Like
we didn't even get into the 26% jump in healthcare prices from last year under Donald Trump.
John is unusually quiet right now.
John got one of his accounts got moved out.
Yeah. Well, he's I mean, not only is Trump polling terribly, but he's doing terribly in terms of how much people trust him with the economy, and that's always been one of his strengths. Deserving or undeserving. So, pretty clear he's not living up to the campaign promises, especially, I mean, really any of them, honestly, but especially the, gas prices and groceries.
Ground beef prices, man, crazy. You notice, remember when they were talking about Trump running for a third term? You notice they don't even make that joke anymore now.
Well, yeah, I mean, he is like more unpopular than Biden was at any point during his presidency, I think.
That's how you know that they know that, like, they won't say that this thing has failed, but the fact that they're not making the 4 more years joke anymore to own the libs, because they know that libs would love for him to try to run again at this point because he's so unpopular.
I mean, clearly they're like dejected. I mean, you drive around towns that used to have, you know, Trump signs up everywhere, and they're not really to be seen. I mean,